Hey, welcome back to another edition of Addicted to Gear. I have a very special guest with me today, Mr. Chuck Wilson from Bootlegger. You may have seen his wonderful guitars on my channel before, including the Spade and the Deville. Chuck has a nice variety of guitars available on his website. You can check him out on bootleggerguitar.com, singular, no S. And welcome again, Chuck. How are you this morning? In shape?
Rocking, buddy.
All right, cool. Thank you for doing this. This is kind of part two of the live chat that we did this past Sunday. We had some gremlins in the house, and unfortunately, we had to cut that one short. It kind of dropped on us, and we weren't able to resume that one. So we figured we'd do an offline version, very, let's say, less intensive in terms of the hardware that we're dealing with. And hopefully things will run smoothly this time. So Chuck, last time we were together, we spoke about your guitars. We spoke about the beautiful headless guitar that you have now available on your website, the Spade,
Thank you.
The Deville that I am enjoying tremendously as a semi-hollow guitar that I love. And we spoke about your amplifiers. We spoke about some of the other guitars in the lineup, and also a little bit about the guitar that you're working on, the version, I guess, not necessarily version 2 of this, but
No.
the next incarnation of your headless guitar offer, which is very exciting. So
Yeah, the Spade will continue. The Spade and the Ace bass will continue.
the Spade, yeah, for me, the Spade is a really great compact guitar, perfect ergonomics for people that want to, even maybe bring a guitar to work and leave it in the corner so that you can do some finger exercises during lunchtime or something like that without being too obvious. It's easier to sneak in.
Yes.
And it comes with, all these guitars also come with a case, and the case for the Ace, I call it the Ace, the Spade, is nice too, because it's really like compact and has a great logo on it as well, and not too cumbersome to put in your guitar, your car if you're going anywhere and you want to take it along with you as a travel guitar, in terms of like, bringing it on a plane or something like that. It's a lot easier than a full-size guitar. So I would assume these guitars are really great sellers at this point, and I'm sure the new one will be just as interesting for everybody looking for a headless guitar. I haven't, as I mentioned, I hadn't realized that I needed a headless guitar, but after having one in my hands for a while now, I'm really enjoying it. And I thought it might be awkward, because you know how it is. Everybody's used to seeing the full thing, but obviously it's not an issue for me right now, because I'm having no issues at all playing this guitar, and it's really doing really well. The pickups sound really good as well. And I know that some people wanted to know what pickups were in the guitar, because a maker is not necessarily listed on your website. So I'm just wondering if you can maybe give us some of the specs on the pickups.
Yeah, the actual specs, the ohm ratings and such, are on the website. They're and I don't have them in my memory. They're made by Buhong, which is commonly known as BMK in South Korea, Seoul, Korea. And they're a builder of hardware and pickups for a lot of major companies. So these are pickups used on other guitars, just without the brand name. And they're excellent. They're hot pickups.
They are, yeah.
It's one of the way I can keep the prices on the guitars reasonable. EMG, I believe it is. They have now come to me. They have found Bootlegger and said we'd like to discuss getting EMG pickups in their guitars. So the new headless, the Royal, looks like we'll be using some EMG pickups. It's very nice that they're coming to me, saying we'd like to be a part of what you're doing. So we're letting EMG select the initial pickups for the Absence, the next headless. But by no means probably the biggest surprise that I get from, I think the two biggest surprises guys tell me when they buy my guitars is, one, with the price point that it comes with a hard case, let alone a high quality pro guitar.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And two, that the pickups they're like, well, I'll buy the guitar for $590 and get the case, and I'll swap out the Seymours or whatever. And then
Right.
they get the guitar and go, well, I don't have to swap out the pickups. They're
Exactly.
fine. Yeah. So, that's fine. My goal has always been to provide quality instruments at an affordable price. And you can get hardware and pickups without the brand name on them, but in a sense, it's the same pickup. You just can't use the words. So I know what these pickups are, but in respect to the companies that brand them, I can't say.
Sure.
So I just say that they're made by BMK Bohong,
right,
and they're excellent. And they're not Chinese. They're Korean made hardware and pickups. They're excellent.
Yeah, and they sound perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. And
yeah, and the reason for the case, I'll just put it real quick, is I broke too many guitars shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these companies, I mean, I see $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 guitars for sale, and they offer a gig bag.
I know.
And I think you're going to ship that guitar.
Absolutely.
It's just crazy to me. So if you're a builder,
I agree.
The cost between a gig bag and a hard case is not that. I mean, it's more money, but what you're getting is so much better for the money. And then it costs a little bit more money to ship a hard case because of the weight, but you're not getting a broken guitar.
Exactly.
So all these companies, these big companies that are counting pennies, and saying, well, here you can spend, buy this blank, and it's $3,800. And by
Absolutely.
the way, here's your soft bag.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
One company comes to mind right away for me.
Yeah.
We won't name names.
Yeah. And you're shipping at UPS, which if you've ever been, I've been to a UPS distribution center. And if you ever wondered why they break guitars, you can ask me and I'll explain it.
Oh, I know why.
Yeah.
They take the frustrations out on the packages a lot of times, unfortunately. So yeah. I totally understand what you're saying. But at the end of the day, I was surprised at the fact that your guitars also came with really nice cases as well. Because I was expecting a case sometimes, there's lower end, higher end cases, but your cases are really nice. And then obviously I was plenty surprised with the quality of the guitars as well, because the first one that I received was the Deville. And as I mentioned before, I really like semi-hollow guitars. I have a semi-hollow 335. I have a semi-hollow PRS. And your guitar was kind of like right in between the two, because the 335 was a larger body, the PRS is a smaller body, and yours is kind of somewhere in between. So it fit very nicely in like that pocket that I was missing, and it plays really nice. It has a great ergonomics and feels really sweet when I'm playing it as well. So, and I can tell like it's a well-made guitar. I don't think you were cutting corners with it. So I'm very happy to be able to have that in the collection, and it's going to stand up really well compared to the other ones that I have as well now. So I'm looking forward to many, many years of enjoyment playing that guitar.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of it. If I'm not proud of it, I'm not representing it, I'm not building it, and I'm not selling it. So I appreciate those good words, because that does mean a lot to me. And, I have, being a gigging musician, I have plenty of, pro friends. It amazes me. I've actually been paid to play guitar, and that always is a kind of a funny joke for me. But, I'm able to get these guitars in hands of guys like my buddy Mark Fitch plays a 335. He's a very, very well-known jazz player around LA. And he's playing my Deville and saying, man, this is like, it's not a 335, but he's like, wow, this is, his comment was, you're making no sacrifices playing this guitar.
Right. Exactly. And it feels.
So I said to him, I go, well, yeah, if you want to go buy a 335 and spend a couple grand, he laughed. He goes, a couple grand? When's the last time you
Not anymore.
The price of a 335?
Not anymore. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Everything is becoming a lot more expensive. Everything. So
yeah.
that's one of the things I wanted to ask. Like, how do you manage to keep your costs down a little bit on that as well?
Yeah, I'm not interested in me making big profits right now. I'm building a brand.
Yep.
So I, I can decide to price guitars where they're uh, considered professional instruments in a price range that it's pretty much by itself. I mean, there's really not very many guitars that can compete in the price range that I'm at for the case, the quality of the guitar, and what you're getting. And that's intentional. So I guess I can afford to do it because I know I'm building a brand name by
Right.
getting guitars in guys' hands and
Right.
gals, and I don't market. I don't spend. Um, if you understand how anything works, selling anything, selling donuts, whatever, if you're going to sell a lot of donuts, you got to do a lot of marketing. You got to spend
Absolutely.
a lot of money.
Sure. Sure.
And right, either the consumer pays for that out of the sales price of the instruments, or someone like me says, well, I'm not going to play that game. I'm going to make my guitars reachable for players, pros or hobbyists or lovers or whomever, and that will build the brand other than very expensive marketing that you see in the magazines on the
Sure.
internet and
Sure.
such.
Makes
So
sense.
for those who don't know what bootlegger is, it's because you're not reading me in Guitar Magazine, and that guitar ad is thousands and thousands, $5,000, ten thousand
Oh yeah.
dollars depending on where it is in the magazine. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
my
I
decision is it's
spend it on
more
the
of a
gear.
grassroots.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes total sense to me. I think you're on the right track with all of that. I think,
Thank you.
obviously, I'm new to the brand as well. I wasn't familiar with Bootlegger till
Mhm.
recently, but I really do love being part of helping companies that make great products get more exposure. That's the reason why I have the YouTube channel. This is the reason why I want to try and put videos out. I want to promote what I like. At the same time, I want to promote things that I think are of value, and that's why when I stumbled on the brand and I initially contacted you,
Yeah, thank you.
I was very interested in checking out some of your lineup because to me, they looked like they were well-made guitars, and I know a couple of people that had mentioned that I should definitely check it out, and I wasn't disappointed. And then, like I said, the first guitar was great, and I've had so many occasions where I'll try a product of a certain company and they'll send me something, or I'll buy something and review it and it's great. And then I try a follow-up product and it's like, not that great. But I mean, the initial guitar was really great. Then, took a chance on the Headless, and,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely liking this one. So 2 for 2, that's fantastic. I mean, I can tell that it's not just luck that I stumbled upon one of the guitars that was really good, and then the rest of the lineup is so. So I can tell that you definitely care about your products, and you definitely want to offer something that is going to give the consumer the maximum they can get for their money, which is very nice to see, because we live in a world today where we're being taken advantage of by the larger companies. We all know, like, I like Fender, I like Gibson, I like Sir, I like PRS, but the prices just keep going up and up and up and up, and it's getting to the point now where the average Joe, can't afford to have more than one guitar practically, because they're just too darn expensive. I mean, you look at like you said yourself, a 335 today is like 4,000 in Canada, is
Yeah.
like $4,000,
Yeah.
$4,500.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking the price of a used car, you know.
Maybe you can lease it.
And for me, it's sacrilege to not be able to have more than one guitar. As you can tell, I have quite a few, and I want to support the companies that are basically putting out good quality guitars at a reasonable price. That they're not going to fall apart in our hands. We're going to be able to
Mhm.
enjoy them for years to come. And so far, that's what I'm seeing with yours. So kudos to you. You're doing a great
Thank you.
job.
But that's thank you, buddy. And it's great, like because of that, I get to meet cool people like you. But that's the recipe of bootleggers' early success. You know, you're buying my design guitar through me. I check out the guitar before it's shipped, and if it doesn't meet my approval, then it doesn't get shipped. I pick out a different guitar for you until it meets my approval. And the ones that don't meet my approval go to my tech and get set up differently.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's the only way Bootlegger is going to, in time, grow. I mean, it's growing every year, but the only way it's going to grow, become a viable boutique company, is by continuing to just do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and I'm in no hurry. I'm not. This isn't like, oh, if I don't do something next week, then the company's going to collapse.
Sure, sure.
Everything I've ever built, including my race shop in Florida and my real estate and whatever things I do, are always built to be successful and to exist in time.
Sure.
It's not going anywhere, and it's just going to get better and better. And I'm a little bit tired of false, like you touched on it, false promises, or just the crap that we get thrown at us today.
I know.
And every time a bootlegger player says, I love it, I'm ecstatic, I can't believe what you're doing, can't believe I got this guitar or amp, at this price, they go out and talk to people and, give me reviews. If you read my reviews, they speak for themselves. And that's the basis of the growth of the company. It's not going to happen any other way. So if I'm putting cheap crap out there with false promises, it will fall apart in 6 months.
Absolutely.
There's nothing that's going to keep it up, right?
No.
I mean, there's no marketing saying, oh, you're going to get a girlfriend if you buy my guitar. Oh, you're going to become the next guitar player of,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what you read. It's a talent pill. Oh, you're going to buy this pedal. Well, no, I mean, that's a bunch of BS. The company's going to.
Absolutely. You're right.
It's going to stand or fail.
Yeah.
Based upon when I meet someone and they buy my guitar and they decide to buy it, and then their testimonial is what, I guess it's a very old-fashioned business model. Well, and that works for me because I'm kind of an old-fashioned guy.
Old-fashioned is not bad if it works. I mean, look, at the end of the day, that's what it was at the beginning, right? I mean, people would put out a product, they'd make something to the best of their abilities, and people would buy it and they would continue buying it if they were satisfied. Nowadays, it's almost like companies take for granted that they have 9 lives, that we can put out garbage consistently and people will still buy it. But at the end of the day, people are not that way anymore. I mean, we have a lot of choice. We have a lot of places where we can spend our money. And, I don't think people will put up with inferior products that are asking premium prices if they're not built to those standards, So again, yeah. I think the formula you're using is great, and you should keep it up. I definitely want to talk a little bit about that great amp behind you, because I know this is a new addition that you've been working very hard on, and I just wanted to know basically. First of all, I want to ask you, okay, obviously building amplifiers is not an easy thing. It's a great challenge. You managed to put one out. Did you base that amplifier on any specific tone, or did you just aim for something that was missing in your opinion? Sometimes you will say, okay, this amplifier sounds British, this amplifier sounds American. Where does that amplifier fall in terms of tone, and how did you?
Yeah, and having been in the recording industry, a lot of those guys, everybody hears something different. So I got so many responses like, oh, it sounds like this, or it sounds like that. Like, well, everybody hears it different, right? This amp is the big brother of my original Blues 30 and Blues 15 tube amp.
Yep.
Yeah, originally those two separate amps, were developed and built out of a good company in China, but I decided to change my method of doing business and concentrate solely on my partnership with my builder in Seoul, Korea. And I explained to him that I'd like to take those 2 amps and turn it into 1 amp. And years in development, we finally have it. For me, I think an amp should be aesthetically pleasing and it should sound great. And that's what was my goal. And originally it was a Vox circuit. So I would say that
Cool.
the mother of invention in this is a Vox circuit philosophy, but it's
Okay.
been
Okay.
changed and changed and changed and changed.
Uh-huh.
So what it is a switchable 15 or 30 watt amp. It has both a power and standby switch. The 15 or 30 watt switch is actually inside or not easy to maneuver because I didn't want it to be something that could accidentally be switched. So you then with your choice of either 15 or 30 watt, you have 2 channels. One channel is clean tube only channel, 12 AT7, 5 12 AT7 preamp tubes, and 2 606 power tubes. So you have both a gain and a volume on channel 1. So you can go from clean jazzy chime up to crunch, blues rock, natural tube sounds.
Nice.
Yes, thank you. And then there are videos up now on YouTube, the Bootlegger Guitar, that you'll see the amp and demonstrate that. The second channel, which is switchable here with LED lights and also with the foot switch between first and second channels. This channel has a clone of a tube screamer effect up front. So when you go to channel 2, you get a drive 2, you get a boost in volume and a little bit more crunch, kind of like a lead sound compared to maybe a rhythm sound.
Yeah.
But then you have the option of the boost button. So on channel 2, if you hit the boost button, now you go into really overdriven rock.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darkness.
Nice. Yeah.
And then it has its own separate gain. So you can set each channel's gain separately for, clean or overdriven madness.
Okay. Nice.
Tube madness. And then both channels share treble, middle, bass presence. Volume has an onboard analog reverb tank, send and return effects loop, the jack for the optional foot switch, and then an external speaker out so you can use it as a head, an 8 ohm out.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty full featured. I mean, there doesn't seem to be anything missing. I like the fact that it has the foot switch, the actual reverb built in. That's a spring reverb, right? You said?
Yes. Three spring.
That's something super nice to have. A lot of people are putting the digital reverb in a lot of amplifiers, which are not bad, but I mean, spring definitely sounds warmer and nicer to me. So that's pretty nice. And is it extremely heavy?
It is. We started about 42 pounds.
Okay.
And then we had, I wanted to install a heavier heat sink. Right. So that was of advantage to the board, the amp.
Yeah.
So that was a little pound or two heavier. We put the heavier Celestion speaker in it, and we went ahead with a hardwood ply cabinet. So we did add about 4 pounds. So now it's about 46 pounds.
Makes sense.
Which isn't bad. It's like a metal weight, but
it's not bad at all.
Yeah, you can't build an amp much larger. I tried. I don't like carrying heavy amps, but
I'm glad you went with the ply instead of the particle board, and MDF and all that kind of stuff, because I honestly feel that there's a definite tonal difference when you use a plywood, a good quality plywood instead of or even pine. Actually, pine is actually a good material as well because it tends to be light. But the plywood's actually more durable. So you have a little bit more weight, but you have more durability. Pine is a little bit less heavy, but it's maybe a little bit more, it vibrates a little bit more because it's lighter wood. But as long as you stay away from MDF, you have my vote.
It's birch.
That's awesome.
plate too. It does have the MDF for the speaker, which is,
Yeah, that's normal.
necessary for the proper tone.
Sure.
But no, it's beefy.
Sure.
It's a solid cabinet. I mean, the cabinet's perfect, but we were able to channel 2 boost, full gain, full volume, and we rattled it a little bit, which made me really proud. You
Absolutely.
know, you can actually outplay the amp. I mean, you can get the settings on the amp that you feel like it's going to just explode, which of course it won't. But I didn't want it to be vanilla. I wanted it to be, that's probably my pet peeve with amps are, one, gain switches do next to nothing. And I wanted this amp, when you hit the gain, it did something. I mean, the
Yeah.
tubes, went to
Sure.
crunch and overdrive.
Yeah.
That was important to me. It was important to me that, you could kick back and be a jazz guy at a restaurant, and just play background music, beautiful chime. And then when you're done, you could throw it in your car and take it to the blues jam and wail, right? That's what it is. And
Did you voice the amplifier? I know some amp makers claim that they like to voice the amplifier when they're designing it at a certain volume. So, for example, Friedman says that he voices his amplifiers at low volumes so that they sound great at that volume too, as opposed to some, how the old Marshalls were great amplifiers, but they really sounded best when they were played loud. And so sometimes it's just, you simply can't do that, in a home environment. So having the ability to have, I mean, your amplifier is pretty loud. I mean, the wattage that you're offering there is substantial. I'm sure it's extremely loud if you need it to be. But obviously there's always a sweet spot where the amp sounds best. So I don't know if you can answer, what that is.
I don't technically have an answer for that. My engineers would.
Okay.
I'm, it kind of goes back to I'm the race car guy in the seat, not the mechanic.
Makes sense.
With this, I'm the guy with the ear, but it's definitely toned to be a clean, chimey, lower volume amp. You can have the volume at a quarter and the gain it just under a quarter turned, and you'll get just a beautiful chime.
Nice.
A beautiful headroom. So I would say, instead of it being something written on a text sheet, it was more, I got the chassis and played it and gave it to a lot of different friends who played it.
Okay.
Including on stage. And I just took that information and said, hey, we needed to do this. Hey, we needed to do that. And then I get the revisions from the engineers. And I look at it like, oh, okay. I matched the first version to the second version. And I go, okay, well, what exactly am I looking at? And they explain to me what they're doing. And then I say, oh, okay, send it to me. And then I do the process again. And that's kind of my lack of, engineering specialty way of doing it.
Well, you're going
no different than when I was recording in the studios, and an artist would, because I'm not an engineer, and an artist would say, "I want more compression on the drums." Sure, I'll turn the more compression. I mean, I had an engineer with me, but I'm just like, I'm just turning the knob to my ear.
Right.
Well, what do you think? Oh yeah, that's good.
What makes sense?
Yeah.
Well, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, if it sounds good, then it is good. I mean, you don't have to overthink it. But I just wanted to also ask you quickly. I mean, you have some really nice guitars in back of you. I'm sure that's the current lineup that you offer on your website. So if I had to tell you, if I had to ask you which one of those you play more often, or which one is your particular favorite, are you able to point to one, or are they all kind of like your babies? They're all equally loved?
They're all my babies. The Royal, which is the Floyd Rose version, is way beyond my playing level of understanding how to use a Floyd Rose. So that is not designed by me. It's designed by Steve Stein, and it's for the the metal shredder guys. So, that one is not a go-to guitar for me, even though I love it. It's beautiful. My Spade, which is I tour with when I have to fly somewhere to play, because it's full scale pro guitar and it's really simple to take with me. I did a gig in West Virginia with Iron Butterfly a year ago, and it was great. I mean, it works as personal self-defense as well as my go-to guitar, right? I love my like I own a Epiphone Les Paul, so I love the Gibson style guitars. So the Deville is definitely a guitar I go to. Like if I'm playing Neil Young, I'm going to my 3 pickup offset style.
Super nice, yeah.
So I guess it would and if I'm playing like like a quieter blues set, I'll go to my single barrel, which is right here.
Yeah.
Which is a semi-hollow body.
Very nice looking guitar.
Yeah, I can pull that down. It features a P90 and a single coil, so it has really unique voicing as far as the tones you can get from it. This is my first unique bootlegger design, and this goes way back. See if I can do this. This goes way back to like, the K's, the Supras.
Sure.
Those really cool vintage guitars.
I like it. I like the fact. I like the neck and the choice of going with a lighter neck on that guitar. That's pretty nice.
The maple.
Yeah, very sweet.
This guitar, for the guys that are younger, there weren't guitar centers. We had a mom and pop guitar shop if we were lucky, and then Sears. The department store, let me move this a little bit. There we go. Sears department store had a guitar section because, the Beatles, the Stones were out. We went to Sears to buy our tickets to the concerts.
That's it.
And then you walk right by the guitar section, right? And, this would be a model guitar that would have been more common in that era, kind of a pre-Telly.
Yeah.
Style.
Really
right?
Nice combination. Yeah.
Yeah, semi-hollow. The single coil, the P90 and the bridge. And this is just a killer guitar. So it's probably my most feminine guitar. My wife always says it's.
Oh yeah.
More of a feminine body.
Well,
shape
it's a nice. Yeah, a lot of nice shapes in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's this guitar was played at the main stage at NAMM 4 years ago.
Okay.
By Capali, a friend of mine who's one of the main daytime like Saturday players at NAMM, and this was featured. So it's just it's a cool guitar, and I love. Obviously, you're holding the Spade, which is retro futuristic, and then this is very much. Yeah, I mean
that's the cool thing. That's the cool thing is like. That's what I like about your current lineup is that you have kind of something for everybody. And, you have the Headless is kind of super modern. That one's more traditional vintage. Then you have the ones that are in between. So you're bound to find one that you like. And I think that's a great way of approaching it is just try and make something that is going to be, it's going to appeal to everyone, without necessarily having to copy anything that's already out there and make it your own.
Yeah,
that's
definitely. I will admit to taking older styles and then making changes and then kind of bringing it back.
We all have those influences, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've always was a fan of the earlier Gretsch models. When Gretsch was really Gretsch. And they used the P90 a lot, and or they used P90s. Actually, not a lot. I mean, that was a thing. And I to this day, I love having a P90 guitar.
Oh, absolutely.
I wanted to make sure, I had one. So I thought, well, if I'm going to do a P90, what can I do that's completely like different,
unique,
than what everybody else is doing?
Yeah,
which is kind of my nature, a bootlegger guitar. So I single coil.
Yeah,
So, and it's got a 5-way selector switch, so you get, you can blend the two together, and it's really unique.
I have to.
I have guys that play these in LA, and I'll go catch the gig, and like they're, like a band for like a female singer, and they're on the single coil a lot, and kind of like ballad country kind of
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
Then the singer will take a break, and then the band plays, and they use this, and they start doing Hendrix stuff with the P90. It's great. They don't change the
Flexibility.
guitars. They go from like country twang to, So I monokered this guitar from Hank to Hendrix
That's
off of the Neil Young song.
I can see that happening. I mean, and the fact that
Yeah.
I mean, you have the thing that's really cool just in that guitar itself. I look at that guitar and I'm like, okay, I'm a big fan of Telecasters. So you have
Sure.
you have the Telecaster bridge, Telecaster pickup. So that's one check mark. I'm very partial to single cut guitars. So you have the single cut thing happening. That's another check mark for me. I'm a big fan of P90s. And there you go, P90, another check mark. And I love hollow body. So basically you have in one guitar, all of the elements that of different guitars that I love so much,
Thank you. Yeah. I guess I would say it's the pre-Tele shape.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
My guess would, I wasn't there in Tele then, but my guess is they were taking, these Ks and Super ISK style guitars and saying, well, hey, we can make it our own. And they designed the Tele. So,
exactly. I mean, everybody's influencing everybody else. So it's normal that you're going to have, similarities. You're going to see, hey, this one reminds me a lot of that particular guitar. That's where everything's coming from. Amps too, right? I mean, the Marshall stems from the old Fender guitars, and the new guitars are based on the old Marshalls, and vice versa, and all that kind of stuff. So it's an ongoing mishmash of
You see that, like I talked about it before, but when I invite you to NAMM and you can make it, when you're at NAMM, you're amazed at that, that under one roof you can witness how close some of these companies can be to one another.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I didn't do this with the idea I'm going to figure out a way to make a bunch of money in the music industry. I did this with the idea I'm going to do something uniquely different and see if I can make it work.
Right.
And that's a lot more challenging than
Absolutely.
saying, oh, I'm just going to copy Fender and get sued.
No, yeah.
Because that's,
I'm laughing, but it's not funny. I mean, everybody today is very nervous about that, right? And everybody from, like we all know the big boys at Gibson, have been targeting and hitting people over the head recently. They've been doing it for quite a while. Fender obviously is going to be super careful about their copyrights and, making sure the headstocks don't look too similar and the body shapes don't look too. I mean, I understand it. When everybody's sort of trying to make the same stuff, you have to do that. I get it, But at the end of the day, I don't understand why people don't just spend more time being creative. Like there's definitely things that haven't been done before. So why not just, stretch the boundaries a little bit and offer something a little bit more unique, like it doesn't have to always be a Fender shape or always be a Gibson shape. Come up with a shape of your own, So I like what you're doing, and I definitely, I definitely think you do have your own flavor in your lineup there. So it's really nice to see that.
I found, and this is, I apologize to anybody that might be offended by this because it's not my intent, but I hosted an LA Blues Jam for, 2+ years, and there were the guys that came and they had to have, like, for lack of a better word, a security blanket. They had to play a guitar that was considered common.
Right. Right.
It's like they're not
playing something popular.
If they're not playing their Les Paul, so and you could have it seemed like the less talented the player, and I welcomed everybody, so I don't care about talent. I'm not, meaning if I'm hosting the Blues Jam, I had people that were very much beginners, and I loved it, because I tried to help and be positive and everything. but they tended to be the ones that needed to have the higher end, you know, guitar that gave them confidence to be there. And I would try to instill, like, no, man, you know, like I would be more impressed if they walk in with the pawn shop guitar that looked halfway beat up, but they were trying to, you know, they're
Exactly.
working,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there is some type of, like, the guitar industry has done a really good job of selling the talent pill.
Absolutely.
You know,
That's
and cars do the same thing. You know, car companies, you buy this guitar, you get a girl or whatever you
absolutely.
want, right? You play this guitar, you get, you know, this is what marketing is today. And um, I've had talented young people say they love my guitars, but they don't feel confident they could play them live because of those issues.
I understand.
Like they would lose gigs because they're not playing a Les Paul.
I
And I have no
understand.
answer. I'm
It's
just like,
sad.
okay, well,
It's sad. You
yeah.
know, one of my biggest icons, unfortunately, passed away this year, Eddie Van Halen.
Oh
And,
yeah, he was.
and you know, for me, it's always been like he was cool because he would do it his own way for whatever
Mhm.
reason. And if you know, he could have probably played, you know, the Strats or you know the Gibsons or whatever, but he chose to you know have his own Frankenstrat, which he put together, and he didn't have anybody's logo on it, and it was entirely his own, and it was that was cool to me, you know, and everybody wanted to be like him, you know,
Yeah.
but you can't go out and just buy that guitar, you know,
No.
and
Yeah.
that's I don't know why other people don't take that approach and just say, look, you know,
Yeah.
everybody's yeah, I can walk into any guitar store and pick up a Fender or a Gibson or any, you know,
Yeah.
anything like that, but try and find something unique, you know, and I normally end up shopping most of the time in used guitar shops because I like the older stuff. I like the stuff that's, you know, to me the new guitars, and I don't want to offend anybody either, but if I go into a shop and it's just basically has Fender, Gibson, and Ibanez on the wall, a lot of times I'll pick up a guitar and I look at the price and it's like, you know, almost practically $2,000, and I play the guitar and it's not a bad guitar, but I'm looking at the price. I'm like, this is not a bad guitar, but to me, it's not a $2,000 guitar. You know,
Yeah.
I'm
And
I'm trying to be sold a guitar here that
yeah.
I don't feel is worth more than, you know, $700 or $800, and it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes.
Yeah, but you can get special financing,
Oh,
layaway.
for sure,
You know, they'll
for
do
sure,
anything to sell you that guitar, right?
for sure.
Um, I know now the cost of building guitars. I know now how distribution works.
Yeah,
I've been approached by numerous distribution companies, which makes me very proud that I've been
sure.
thought of that way.
Yeah,
My original amps were in the American Music Catalog. I guess it's, you know, the Guitar Center's internet site, whatever that is. So I've learned a lot, and I now understand why that guitar is that cost.
I
Because I
understand
know,
it too. I
yeah, I know
understand it
what it
too.
costs to make it, and I know what
Yeah,
hands
yeah,
it goes through. And so by the time you buy or the consumer buys it, you know, you have, you know, six hands feeding out of that profit.
exactly.
And, you know, the guys that say, like, I understand, I've had guys say, I love your guitars, but I'll never buy one because I can't try it in a shop. I go, you know, of course, I'm not going to, that's a reasonable thing to say. But on the other hand, you go to a guitar center and buy a guitar, you know, you're being taken advantage of. I don't know. I mean, you're paying an awful lot, you know, for the inconvenience of saying, well, I'll buy a bootlegger, and if I don't like it, I'll just return it. You know, like, it's easy. Just return it to me, you get your money back, you know. So I would say 90% of the guys are like, oh hell, I'll buy one. You know, what if I don't like it, Chuck? Well, you can just send it back. You're going to lose $40. I send you the shipping label, and, you know, it's going to cost you, Mr. Consumer, $35, where it would have cost you 100, you know, to go to UPS and ship it, right? Because I get discounts, right? So, you know, they're like, well, yeah, send me one. You know, and I go, well, you're not going to return it, you know, and they laugh. I go, well, read my reviews. And they go, yeah, Chuck, I'm not returning it, right, you know.
Yeah,
So, you know,
you
some
stand
guys,
behind your
you know,
product. Absolutely. I'm
oh yeah, well,
look.
some guys are definitely like, you know, we're all different fish, right? You know, and you know, some guys are more apt to be, you know, like in their mind be open, and then other guys or gals are just more, you know, I got to have that Prada bag. I got to, you know, I don't know. I'm the guy more like you. If I'm traveling, I'm all over pawn shops, and or if I'm just around LA, I'm over pawn shops. You know, I haven't been in a Guitar Center in years, and I've only go to Sam Ash to pick up pro audio cables or something. And I like Sam Ash. I got nothing against Sam Ash, but you know, I don't like even like if I get asked a question, well, so and so has a new guitar. How does it compare to your whatever? I have no idea.
Right.
You know,
Because
like,
you're not interested
if I
in
didn't
that.
see it at NAMM,
Yeah.
I'm not going to, you know, ruining my ears at Guitar Center, you know, to design a guitar. It doesn't interest me. It's not, you know, it's not sexy for me to just think I'm copying this guitar because I can sell it, because guys are comfortable with that guitar style. It's better for me in my mind to think, man, I'm going to show you something you haven't seen, and you're going
Exactly.
to love it.
And that's
You know?
precisely my feeling. Whenever I go
Yeah.
into the guitar center or guitar shops here, I always feel like I'm just looking at the. How can I put this in a way that, you know,
It's
it's not
hard.
going to be. No, it's just because like I'm looking for something unique and something different, and everything's pretty much the same. There's a lot of different flavors of colors and stuff like that, but the guitars are
Yeah.
all kind of the same. So nothing really stands out to me in saying like, wow, I found a really cool guitar that is unique, inexpensive, and has like all the features that I like. And, you know, they're just trying to stuff the brand names down your throat. And I would love to see a little bit more variety. And that's why I like to encourage people to
Oh,
try out your
yeah.
stuff as well. And all the people that are coming out with unique items that are not necessarily mass produced, but again, good value to money ratio, unique and different. You know, that's something that I think we should have more of. And that's what you know, to me, it's just like, it's a shame when I walk in there. So many times I walk in just to see, okay, maybe today will be the day. Well, they'll have something different, you know, and it doesn't happen. So,
Well, you can,
it,
yeah, you can buy a Line 6 amp, you know,
yeah, exactly, you know, or a
but
katana or something, whatever
alternative. Just
whatever it
another
is.
computer. Yeah, I kind of like in Guitar Center to trying to find good food at Disneyland,
Yeah,
which is impossible.
I
If you've
know
been to Disneyland, you're not going to get good food at Disneyland.
exactly,
You
and
know,
you're
I
gonna pay a
talked
lot
about
for it. Yeah.
musicians. Another musician that really impressed me. I didn't know how I'd feel about that movie. It might get loud, but when Jack White opened the movie up
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
built that one-string guitar,
Yep.
you know, I thought, all right, this cat gets it. Not only was I like impressed with him as a musician, but I thought, man, he's not buying into that. You know,
Yeah.
Jack White's constantly looking for something
Unique.
different,
Yeah.
you know, original. And I really respect that.
I
I've
do.
had people that know him who have said they got to get one of my guitars in his hands. Hasn't been easy to do, but if anybody out there's got a connection, let me know, because I'd love to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree, and I think you have to fight the good fight and hope that eventually, you know, the brand will open up to a lot more players. And to me, it's a good thing. I mean, just having more variety is never a bad thing for anyone. So Chuck, I wanna thank you. We've been talking for how long now? Almost getting close to an hour. And I want to thank you very much for taking the opportunity and time out of your busy day. I know you have a lot of fish to fry on your end, and I will welcome you back anytime on the channel whenever you have time for me and you want to talk more gear. It's always a pleasure. I invite all of the viewers on my channel to take a look at your website, so Bootlegger Guitar with no s.com. Take a look at the lineup that Chuck has for you, and also take a closer look at the amplifiers. I think those will be pretty sweet to
Thank you.
see more videos of eventually. I know you'll be probably putting up more videos on your own channel. So I invite people to take a look at
Yes.
that as well. And of course, check out these really sweet headless guitars, man. They're really, really nice. The bootlegger spades are awesome in my opinion. I'm really loving it. And as well, I think I'm loving them equally. I mean, the bootlegger spade and the Deville are both top-notch, very nicely built guitars that I invite people to at least try. And like Chuck said, if you don't like it, you can always send it back, and there's no big complication there. Chuck will take care of you and definitely hook you up with the right guitar for your playing style. So
Yeah, I only want you to be happy, man. You know, I'm not.
absolutely.
That's what it comes down to. It because the way my business grows is, you know, dudes are like, "Well, I got this guitar. I'm so happy." You know, if they're out there like, "Oh, I got this piece of crap," and Chuck was a dick, that doesn't help my company.
It doesn't help at all. No, not at all.
It doesn't do anything for me.
No,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I take, you know, definitely you become part of the family, and it's very important that you're, you know, well loving being a part of the bootlegger family.
And that goes a lot, that goes far in my book when you can actually call a company and speak to the man behind it all. Oftentimes you're calling somewhere and you're getting some customer support person that doesn't really care about you, is getting paid minimum wage to answer your questions, and is kind of fed up with all these crazy questions coming in. You can talk to Chuck directly. I'm sure you can probably be reached by email as well if anybody has a question regarding
Oh, my phone, yeah, it's best to buy direct from me. I mean, obviously you can click buttons on the website, but you're welcome to call me, text me, email me, and I will send you a PayPal invoice. And usually when you buy direct from me, I'm helpful as far as throwing in a T-shirt or giving you a little bit
Awesome.
of a perk.
Awesome.
So I like talking to people, man. It makes my day.
Yeah, you definitely sound like a people person to me, and that's really, really cool. And you have to promise me, Chuck, when you finally do come out with the new version of the headless guitar, that you let me know so we can have a look at it as well. And I'm super excited to be able to check that out once it's ready. So don't be a stranger.
Done deal, buddy.
Awesome. And hopefully we
What I'll
could
do is
hopefully we could also
when I
run
get
into
the
each other
prototype.
at NAM also. Hopefully, the next one.
Well, you're
Anyway.
invited. Yeah, I hope it happens, and yeah, you'll definitely be invited. If you need a tag, I'd like to have you under Bootlegger.
That'd be awesome. I'd be more than honored.
Cool, brother. All right, man.
Okay, Chuck, have a good rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of your morning, and we'll chat again really soon.
All right, man. Thank you.
Awesome.
Peace, brother.